Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining this session. My name is Nadeem Athar. I'm a senior enterprise solution strategist at Atlassian. So I have been in this role for about 4 years, but in general, in the ITSM industry for over 20 years, helping customers in their digital and IT transformation journeys. So at Atlassian, I primarily focus on Jira Service Management and how it can enhance service management practices. On today's topic, before we jump on any judgment on whether AI in service management is a hype or reality, let's focus on a common theme between them. So, when it comes to AI, literally it's a virtual assistant, right? Who can mimic human intelligence. So, it's kind of a capability, I would say. So, similarly, like when you look at service management, going to the fundamentals, it's all about developing and using existing organizational capabilities to create value to the end users. So what I feel is if they work in harmony, they will certainly add up. So let's explore it further. Before we dive in, let me give you a quick rundown of our agenda today. So I'm going to talk about the various influencing factors that matter in the world of service management, and particularly the role of AI as a disruptor. Next, service management is not just about break fix and customer support, but rather it starts from the strategy on the need for services based on market relevance, right? To building, operating, and supporting those services. So, what could be the opportunity of AI in all these phases? Next, I will go through AI powered capability, particularly in Jira Service Management, that focus on providing the best experience and productivity for any role, consider it user, agent, or administrator. Finally, I have facts here. I present the facts from Thumbtack about why their teams are embracing AI features in JSM and the results that they are seeing. Now, let us dig into why AI is the new technology disruptor for service management. Now, when you look at the fundamentals of service management, it basically, it revolves around three actors: service provider, service consumer, and services, right? Consider a provider for any IT organization that is catering to the needs of the end users. That's a service provider, right? But if you look from the lens of enterprise service management, even the business units, they fall under service providers. You're talking about HR, legal, finance, all those units, they have their own set of portfolio and a user base that they need to support to. Service consumer. Now, this is where the actual existence of service gets defined. Now, just think it this way: if there is no service consumer, literally you're talking about no need of services, right? But at the center of all these three is what I call it as value. Now, this is the perceived benefit seen by the end user or the customer. And guess what? This perceived benefit is going to change based on some external factors, whether it is economic, social, legal, environmental, etc. I'll give some examples here. Let's say if a country introduces some regulations and laws, and if a service fails to comply with those laws, then certainly the perception of that service is going to be dented, right? And another example is social behavior. We have seen this not long time back, right? During pandemic, like when the social behavior and norms changed, a lot of high flying services at that time, they were like not relevant all of a sudden. And then it demanded like a whole new set of, new generation of services that are relevant to that new social behavior. So my point is like these are some of the influencing factors. But guess what? The biggest influencing factor is technology, and it is one of the constantly evolving landscape. For the past 2 decades we have seen it moving from centralized to distributed computing, virtualized to cloud computing. The way services are built and provisioned has changed drastically. Now today every organization has their services enabled by digital technology. There is no denial on that. And the recent adoption of mobile services, it demands help at fingertips. But now, in the technology domain, also, there is a new player in the game, and that is AI. And that is going to kind of astronomically influence the entire journey of the service lifecycle. Now, let us explore further into how this new disruptor is going to impact the various aspects of the service journey that I mentioned, right? And most importantly, the opportunity that it is going to present. Now, let me take you to this, uh, visual from Gartner that it presented in the annual IT symposium. So it called it as the AI opportunity radar. Now, as you see from this, it said that there are two domains in which the AI opportunity exists, like game-changing AI and everyday AI. Now, game-changing AI is where organizations are going to use this technology, to come up with novel approaches to define product and services, and also develop using core capabilities that we have never envisioned before, right? And on the everyday AI, we are talking about users and knowledge workers basically adopting AI in their daily life, to ultimately to increase the user experience as well as the productivity related to them. Now, for a typical service provider that I mentioned, whether it is IT or business unit, they are going to leverage this opportunity on the other two dimensions, external and internal. Now, this is where they will come up with a mix of right product and services, and also how to enhance the user experience going forward. And for internal, basically we are talking about how they develop the core capabilities, which is at the center of service management, right? So interestingly, now, many of the service management practices touches all of these four quadrants. So let's start with that. Now, first one is front office. We all know, like any organization, when it rolls out service management practices, service request management is the first one. But sometimes, even if you define the service catalog in its most perfect format, users will still have some issues, trying to find information and trying to get to the correct catalog item. This is where natural language processing and conversational guidance assisted by AI is going to enhance this practice. Incident management, we have seen it. Sometimes incidents happen and it's the same type of incident, goes through the same activities, same escalation routes, no lessons learned, right? But this is where AI is going to suggest, like if there is a similar incident, it's going to kind of tag those and provide the resolutions at the earliest. So basically we are talking about, improving MTTR and cutting short the resolution times. Service desk. Now, rolling out a 24/7 service desk is always resource intensive and also expensive. What if you could just roll out like a virtual service agent who is going to handle, all those informative tasks as well as resolve if it can in its capability. And on the back office, there are more practices, change management. Now, this is interesting. So when you consider like developers and operations, there is always a friction between them. Developers, they want to get the code at the earliest into production. And operations, guess what? What do they need? Stability, right? And in between these two is kind of a cab which is stuck. And in nowadays, it's like very hard to scale to the changes that happen in the complex microservices environments. So this is where AI is going to come with risk-based analysis and trying to, separate those changes into standard changes that they can just go in the fast lane, and also normal changes that have to go through the cab. So basically, it's going to maintain a balance between speed as well as stability. That's going to be a huge win. Problem management. Now, typically what I have seen is organizations tend to do reactive problem management. An incident happens, you go to the root cause of the incident, and then you make sure that this incident doesn't happen. So it's reactive, right? But guess what? There is no shortage of data, whether it is from observability tool, whether it is from past incident, or even from the configuration management database. Now, this is where some of the capabilities of AI are going to come and give kind of some leading indicators on what's going to happen down the road. So this is going to shift the whole concept of problem management from reactive to proactive problem management. Software development, now it touches entire SDLC. So basically you're talking about using AI in source code reviews, pull requests, and anywhere in the CI/CD pipelines. And on the right side, it's pretty much like all those practices that lead to coming up with the novel product and services, and also increasing the core capabilities by using the continual service improvement process. But at the core is knowledge management. Now, what I have seen is in most of the organizations, this is sometimes is kind of the neglected practice. Oh, you know what, our knowledge source is so distributed and we cannot leverage it. Our knowledge database is not up to date. So these are some of the challenges. Now, with AI at the doorstep, knowledge management is going to get its you share. So, where does all this lead to, at least in the world of service support and service operation? What I would say is it is in some form going to kind of kickstart the shift left methodology. You know the challenges, right, involved in a typical tiered model: frequent escalations, loss of contacts, delays in resolutions. Now, AI is going to act as a catalyst for the shift left concept to get help where it is needed into the hands of the help seekers. Now, and what does a successful shift left going to look like? We usually focus on typical service level agreements, right? Just metrics prove to the end user that we have met the metrics, but that's not the case. It's going to change the landscape from typical service level agreement into a more holistic experience level agreement. And the good news is Jira Service Management is well equipped with the capabilities to make this concept a reality. So let's dig into some of the AI powered features in Jira Service Management. Atlassian is unleashing AI for service teams in three key ways. For help seekers, it's all about getting help exactly where you need it. One seamless experience. No more digging around in different systems. For agents, we are using AI to take care of repetitive stuff and make knowledge instantly accessible. So they can focus on what really matters, which is helping people, helping their colleagues. And for admin, it's about just quick setup, easy rollout across the business, because we know like admins, they have got enough on their plates. So let's start with the help seekers and the virtual service agent. So we believe that you should be able to get help where you are, whether you are in Slack or Microsoft Teams or even email or the classic help center or portal. So virtual service agent is there to assist you in a true omni-channel landscape. So users can ask for help in any one of their favorite engagement channels, whether it is Slack, Microsoft Teams, and if they wish to log into portal and click on any notification in the email, the entire conversation trail is available in the ticket. No context lost. Let's draw our attention to the support agents experience. Another aspect like knowledge workers care about is AI powered process automation. So with the click of a button, you can call the service request helper Rovo. By the way, Rovo is an Atlassian intelligent powered agent, and simply ask questions on the current case. The agent is going to catch you up on what happened on the ticket since yesterday, for example. Get up to speed on previous resolution attempts. Find subject matter experts who worked on similar requests before that could assist him. Help identify some of the next step on the path to resolution. And even draft a complete response for them based on conversation the human agent has with the robo agent. So it's an undeniable fact that today we work in a distributed workforce in different time zones, and follow the sun is a norm today. So when agent time zones change, it doesn't mean that the life cycle of the ticket has to stop there, but the flow has to continue. And without losing context, that's very important. Now, for a typical agent who work in this global model, features like this are going to be a dream come true. And it doesn't stop there. So when we are working with end users, tone of communication matters. Whether you draft a professional response or an empathetic response, Atlassian Intelligence is going to offer you assistance at every step. AI powered agent assignments, that can intelligently route issues to the right person based on data driven recommendations. So no more tickets sitting in the queue for tier one to pick up. This is going to be a huge boost for response times. And also on the resolution, it could just speed up right when the alerts are detected, separating signals from noise. So we have seen a lot, like sometimes it's like a false alarm, and 10 false alarm is going to 11th false true alarm is going to be totally neglected, like. So intelligent grouping basically based on alerts is going to be a huge benefit. Now, what about admins? What can AI do for them? Now, with Atlassian Intelligence, you can easily start an automation rule using natural language support. Yes, no more coding needed. No more to even write a pseudocode or the flow of event. Just describe your problem or just describe your requirement in plain English. AI is going to do the heavy lifting for you and is going to come up with the automation rule, which easily and quickly creates the automation rule for you, but you can always review it so that you remain in control of that automation rule. And with Robo, you can call upon a Robo agent to provide your service team with the help they need and quickly respond to a ticket, significantly reducing the time to first response. Yes, all of this through automation. And why not call upon a few agents, to keep up the knowledge base up to date, so that you can analyze the existing closed tickets and drafting articles that were missing, for example, and recommending changes to the existing knowledge articles to close any gap in your knowledge base. So that's why I mentioned knowledge management is not going to be a neglected practice anymore. So it needs the data. And again, when it comes to AI, the first thing that need to be fixed is the knowledge management. With a good knowledge management, you are going to get good insights through AI. But if the knowledge management is outdated, then AI is going to give you the wrong information, right? And when you are rolling out a portal to new business units like HR, legal, why not take AI's assistance? So we have AI-powered help desk builder. With a simple click of a button, it guides you through request type suggestions, building the underlying workflows, and lays out the portal ready to roll out. Literally, you're talking about building help desk solution with a click of a button. And finally, when you need those insights to make informed decisions, ask your questions in plain English. AI and Atlassian Analytics will get you started with the auto-generated SQL query. So these are just a few examples of the power of AI in Jira Service Management. Next, I will take you through a true story from one of our numerous customers who are already seeing tangible benefits adopting AI on this front. Thumbtack. It's a technology company that helps millions of people confidently take care of their home improvement initiatives, small fixes to major improvements. So, being a technology company, any downtime of their service means lost revenue and, more importantly, tarnished customer experience. So, like most organizations, they have lean teams and were looking for ways to do more with less. So, when they thought about where to get started with AI, they had a simple goal: optimize the existing IT service management processes and make life easier for their employees and end user. Pretty nice goal, right? So here is the preview to the scale of support at Thumbtack. So they have around 500 project categories ranging from home services to catering and dog grooming. So there are like 300,000 professionals using the platform to offer their services. Over 80 million projects have been initiated on Thumbtack, and the organization, it supports around 1,000 employees worldwide. So this should give you some context on the size of their operations. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about when they decided to implement AI and why they choose to implement it with Jira Service Management. So in 2023, hit by macroeconomic conditions, they had challenges, expanding the headcount for teams. So this forced them to explore ways to become more efficient with their existing tools. As an existing Atlassian customer, it made sense to them to turn to Jira Service Management for their ITSM processes. So they went live with JSM in 2023. And an already existing knowledge base, it enabled them to scale the operations much quickly. So they used AI to streamline service requests, automate resolutions, and provide a 24/7 support via virtual service agent. So this approach has enhanced their SLA compliance and increased customer satisfaction score to 4.9 on a scale of 5. And additionally, their virtual service agent automatically resolves 15% of the tickets, creating efficiencies and allowing agents to focus on optimization and innovation, such as improving their knowledge base. And this is exactly what I was talking about in the shift left methodology. Make the work move to the closest to the user, basically. So they have saved around 180 hours per month by switching to JSM and automating their tasks. So in the next slide, I will review some performance metrics of their virtual service agent. For the second half of 2024, Thumbtack developed an initiative focused on optimizing their knowledge base and improving matches and resolutions using virtual service agent. So they set a base goal of achieving around 20% resolution rate, and they have reached so far 28%. And they're aiming for a stretch goal of like 30% by the end of the year, which they are confident that they will be achieving. And on top of it, they are inching further closer to a perfect CSAT score. The next slide, I'll provide behind the scenes look at the conversation of the dashboard. Now, JSM provides an intuitive dashboard analytics related to assisted conversations. As part of the process to review and optimize the results of the virtual service agent, they examine the past conversations to identify any gaps where AI, for example, did not successfully resolve the issues. Then they create intent flows and knowledge articles to enable kind of automatic resolution of similar tickets down the road. This reminds me of the classic continual improvement example. So it's not like you have the perfect AI solution on day one. It's basically you're talking about incremental improvement based on what users are asking to the virtual agent itself. And the return on investment speaks by itself. So they have so far 60% annual cost savings, and they have boosted their SLA by 90%. And they are, as I said, automatically resolving 15% of their tickets with virtual service agent. So AI in service management is a reality for sure. Time to get on board. And if you want to learn more about AI capabilities in Atlassian platform, please visit this website, atlassian.com/platform/artificial-intelligence. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
Nadeem, excellent. Very good presentation. Thank you very much. We do have a handful of questions. Just before you went on to the case study with Thumbtack, you mentioned just use simple, plain English with the AI. What about in a multi-language environment? How do you manage consistency of answers in the same situation across different languages?
Yes, it is totally user intuitive. Basically, we are talking about you ask the question in any language of your choice, even though the interface is English. AI is going to translate your language into English, make the matches, make sense of the answer, and get you back the answer back in the original language that it was asked. So basically, it is like totally seamless. Like user will feel as if I'm kind of conversing with the AI agent in the language that I'm comfortable with. So it's totally supported. Yeah.
Okay, and it's kind of an extension to that question. How do you adhere to the different legal frameworks around the AI in different countries?
Yes. So basically, like we will stick to the frameworks and the regulations that that are relevant to those countries. And there are some limitations, although I will say related to data residency and all those things. But in general, yes, it complies with those frameworks as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. How reliable and with what effort is AI in predicting, fitting, and really risk reducing change models without high quality change requests input? And is it normalized and reconciled in order to predict a correctly fitting change model?
Yes, very good question. So when it comes to performing risk analysis, most of the data it kind of resides in the configuration management database that you have constructed. So basically, you're talking about how do you want your risk to be calculated? So you could just define a number of parameters right in your CMDB and tell like how do you come up with those risk scores so that you could say like if it is a risk score of below 5, then I would classify them as standard changes. And if it is a risk score of more than 5, more than 6, something like that, I would just classify them as normal changes. So it's all based on the existing data in your configuration management database as well as the environment, of course. And then it's kind of what are those algorithmic metrics that you would define to classify these type of changes. So it's going to take all those into consideration and then spit out a score, and then you could take that change from there onwards.
Okay. There are a number of questions here, and I'll ask just one more in the last minute remaining. How is AI helping service catalog management? Can it automate service request creation for the user through natural language, for example, software installation request?
Okay, that's a good question. Now there are two parts in this one. One is for admins, like how do I create my service request? For example, nowadays there are cases, like where IT used to understand the business, Now it's kind of, other way around. Even business people, they understand IT, like they know what technology is. So if you can give them the concepts of, how you could spin up your own help desk, then they don't need to do any coding. Literally, they're talking about, if I am a HR representative, what are the typical catalog items that I need to give to my users? This is where, they come up with those help desk builder that I showed a while ago, and ask that question and come up with those catalog items and then review them. Now, for the agent, you're talking about automating the flows. So we have a powerful automation capability in JSM that's going to, if it is related to, automatic fulfillment, right? It just connects to the third-party systems, and you could easily fulfill some of those tasks, which you don't need to involve any manual work over there. So there are numerous ways on this one. And again, when it comes to end user, you're talking about, how they can interact with the system and get their task fulfilled by themselves. So it touches all the three roles, I would say. So, but it does help on that front. Yeah.
Perfect. Nadeem, once again, thank you very much for your time and your contribution today. It's very informative.
Thank you.